Okay, it's 10th inning, the World Series game, so I need to make this fast. My name is Zach Green. I'm going to be reading my Westmore essay. It's titled The Importance of Understanding Consequences. Everyone has done something that they know they should not have done in their lives. We have told that lie to save ourselves, knocked over that lamp when we were younger and tried to hide it from our parents, or maybe even worse things. Every time we do something like this, it becomes a learning experience through the way we are disciplined. When I was little, I would get yelled at by my parents if I knocked over a lamp, and in turn I would make sure I did not do it again. However, if my parents would not have yelled at me at the time, I would feel no reason to be careful for the next time, and these small wrongdoings would soon escalate into larger wrongdoings. In the text Wes Moore, One Name, Two Fates, we see what a lack of discipline can turn into for young children versus what could have happened if they had been disciplined. Discipline is one of the most important things our parents can give us when we are young. Even though getting your mouth washed out with soap or getting spanked or slapped or even just yelled at does not seem fun as when we are kids, it is necessary. In the book, Wes and Moore are both given different forms of punishment and react different ways. For example, when Wes's mother first discovers his stash of drugs, she has a very strong reaction. She sat paralyzed on the bed for 15 minutes before springing up, suddenly decisive. She took the boxes into the bathroom, lifted their tops, and emptied their contents into the toilet. She watched every ounce, every rock, every leaf, every crystal float to the bottom of the toilet bowl until the water was cloudy and white. She flushed it away once and then again until the water in the bowl returned to its normal clarity. She put the tops back on the boxes and placed the boxes on Wes's bed. I believe the reaction may not have been the best decision from a disciplinary standpoint. Although Wes's mother effectively made sure there were no more drugs in her house, flushing down the toilet does not really do anything to teach Wes not to bring them around again. In fact, as we see in the book, it only angers him and teaches him to be sneakier. When he saw his boxes sitting on his bed initially, he knew he was in deep trouble. It makes sense that Miss Moore would dispose of them, but if she were to have hid them from him instead and then given him a firm scolding, or perhaps even hit him, or even called the police, or asked Tony for help, Wes could have most likely learned his lesson much more effectively. If Tony would have sat him down and talked to him about the dangers of the drug game, even though he has done it before, it could have changed his life. It cannot ever be said what would have happened for sure if this was to have happened, but I firmly believe the outcome would have been much greater. On the other hand, we see Moore slowly becoming more and more like the kind of person Wes is becoming. His first time getting in trouble with the police was for tagging with his friend, and afterwards he said, "The cops gave us a gift this day, and I swore I would never get caught in a situation like that again." However, a week later, Kid Cupid was on the loose again, adding my tag to another graffiti-filled Bronx wall. Moore's mother had already threatened him previously with military school because of his bad grades, but Moore thought she was bluffing. However, as we see, she ends up sending him to Valley Forge. This was by far one of the best and most important decisions Miss Moore has ever made for her son. If he did not attend military school, he most likely would have kept getting in trouble with the law and possibly could have even ended up in prison, just like Wes. Even though Wes did not agree with the disciplinary actions his mother chose for him at first, he began to understand and even appreciate them as time went on. Neither of Wes's mothers had very much money, and we see this become a factor in Wes's lives. Wes originally became a lookout for a group of drug dealers in order to get some extra money. He lived in a drug-ridden area most of his life. Over 1,700 units in Cherry Hill became a breeding ground for poverty, drugs, and despair. If you're not from Cherry Hill, you don't go to Cherry Hill. Growing up in this kind of environment makes it very easy to get involved with the wrong people and get in a lot of legal trouble. One difference between Wes and Moore was Moore's mother had people she could go to for money. She went to her parents and friends and begged them for money to send Moore to Valley Forge. If Wes's mother would have had the same connections and had been able to send Wes to Valley Forge too, maybe he could have ended up just like Moore. As Moore says, the chilling truth is that his story could have been mine. The tragedy is my story could have been his. Sorry. One of the main reasons Wes's story did not become Moore's is because of this lack of money and therefore lack of discipline. I believe I am very fortunate because my childhood was nothing like Wes or Moore's childhood. I grew up in Cuyahoga Falls in a nice neighborhood with kids my age that lived all around me. I've been friends with these kids who are now grown up just like me for as long as I can remember. We've always played sports together, even made up games ourselves. My parents do not live together and never have, however. They have lived 5 minutes away from each other my entire life, so I've been able to see each of them every day. They took great care of me and raised me to become successful. Part of them raising me was disciplining me. I did not get the best grades in grade school. My dad would ground me and take my iPod Touch away when I had anything below a C on my report card. I loved my iPod almost as much as I love my phone now, so I would work hard to make sure I could get it back. When I was younger, I would frequently get into things I was not supposed to. My mother still has a picture of me covered in pancake mix from when I was little on a day I was getting into the pantry when I should not have been. Although it was funny, my mom still had to yell at me so I would know not to do it again. I believe that the way people behave in high school very well shows how well they were disciplined when they were younger. I believe I was raised rather well and it shows. I have never been suspended, never received a Saturday school, and never even been given as much as a detention. I rarely even get in trouble at all at school. I mostly just stay quiet in class, which most teachers appreciate. The only thing I ever get in trouble for is being on my phone when I should not be. I've never been in a physical fight, and I've never been caught with drugs because I do not take drugs. There are two things that quite a few people at my school. These are two things that quite a few people at my school cannot say to be true for themselves. When I started freshman year, I did not come in with much motivation to work and did not really have plans for the future yet. However, as high school moved along, I obtained the goal to go to Ohio State and become a patent lawyer, so I decided to start working harder in school. My grades steadily improved, and by junior year, I was getting 4.0s on my report card every quarter. I very firmly believe my success and good behavior is due to my parents. When I acted up when I was younger, they knew how to discipline me. Parents need to discipline kids early on because, as we see in the book, as they get older, they do not listen as well. When Wes was in middle school and accidentally busted open his sister's lip, his mother tried to hit him, but it did not work. Wes was getting older and tougher and did not want to show weakness by giving in. She simply pulled back her right hand and slapped me. The burn consumed the entire left side of my face. Not willing to show fear or weakness, I stood there looking back at her. I guess she was expecting tears or apologies. When neither came, she reached back and unloaded another slap to my face. She looked at me again, waiting for a reaction. The days when she could physically intimidate me were clearly over. We see such a large difference in this scene in the way Wes reacts to his mother coming at him versus the time he was little and hit Nikki. He was only 3, and when his mother came after him, he was absolutely terrified. He ran up to his room, terrified, and tried to hide from her. Back when he was younger, it was so much easier to discipline him, but as he grew older, it became increasingly difficult. I believe that I will continue to be a good person who does not act out after college when I get a real job. My parents have been teaching me the importance of working hard in college to get a good job so I can make a good living when I get older. Although I do not believe I will become as successful as more, I know for a fact I will become much more successful than Wes. I will never become a drug dealer and I will never... Sorry, I just lost it. I will never become a drug dealer and I will never rob a bank because I was raised better and taught early on not to. I understand the consequences of making these bad choices and I have the ability to think long term in the moment, unlike Wes. Wes did not think of long term until it was too late, like when he was getting arrested for robbing the bank. Moore writes, maybe he never thought long term about his life at all. Early losses condition you to believe the short term plans are always smarter. Now Wes's mind wandered for the long term for the first time. Finally, he could see his future. I believe that my ability to understand long-term consequences of my actions before I make them will have a large role in my success in my life. In conclusion, the presence of discipline early in the lives of children is vital to their success in life. We see in the book The Other Wes Moore, One Name, Two Face, just how bad a child's lack of discipline can make their life become. We also see just how far someone can come with the presence of discipline early on in their life. Lack of discipline has been an increasing problem in today's society. Many parents are afraid to hit their kids and do not even like to yell at them when they are misbehaving. This lack of discipline only escalates into bigger issues as they get older. It is my hope that this problem becomes noticed more in the future and significant changes can be made to ensure that no one has to go down the same road that Wes did.